and say, my child, I've got a child here who's past matric. I don't have money to send this child to university. Or I have an electricity problem. You know, we don't have access to electricity. Guess what will the PAC, Comrade, or Mafrica say, or Tower? You see, this problem started with the colonialism 1652 until we get the land black and we establish a scientific order, and the internal factor is the decisive factor of the external factor. You have neoliberal scientific socialism. You must suffer, sacrifice, because Robert Sobukwe in 1959 envisaged and saw this problem at the Fort Hare, the Pan-Africanism Manifesto, and then the old ladies is still confused. It says, yeah, the electricity. Hence the ANC, it was easier for them because they had the access. ANC, even their civic movement, they spoke to the now, you know, the jobs now, you know, patronage, and they say, okay, Ubata Ingrid, okay, talk to a comrade, Nefsas, Ubata's fund. Yeah, even though they yeah, but you get a job. You have, Mary, you'll get somewhere, you know, and hence they're able to speak to those things. So the PAC was more, I don't know, yeah, those things like, no, the internal, we don't get into that. We must first get the land, then we establish a scientific social order. So that's the problem. And until they speak to those issues, like now, you never heard them got COVID. What is the position here, PAC, even on Madlanga Commission, you don't know it. On any other thing that's affecting the youth, on immigration, you don't hear them. On Nyaupe, you don't hear them. Those are things that are affecting people now. What was it? So, no, we have land. You know, because Sobukwe said that. So they must convert into a parallel society.
1.5 minutes. I'm going to monitor you 1.5 minutes.
And I'm not going to be terribly too long here. Earlier on, I said Black Wednesday marked the end of the struggle for black emancipation. It would be extremely difficult to recreate and reconstruct, you know, a kind of initiatives and programs that would achieve, you know, black emancipation. But the reality here is that until black emancipation is realized, we are not going to be solving any problem at all. And the idea of black emancipation would actually encapsulate just about every other disabilities that we are talking about, including one about land, you know, including, you know, one about the state of the economy and the role black people play, you know, in the economy. So the issue here is that the pursuit of black emancipation is still, you know, something that is worth considering. Unless
society has regarded Azapo and PAC as no longer a vehicle to take us to wherever we want to go. And I'm not the only one who sees them as a dead animal. Machinery studied a long time ago. Do you believe that?
Yes,
this last seat that they have in parliament, I'm going to say both of them, Azapo and PAC, will they have 50,000 votes by 2029?
It is unlikely. You know, I think the whole, you know, kind of deficiencies that one finds in Azapo and the PAC are actually structural. For the PAC, it has always been their very weak position, you know, in exile. That has to be accepted. The ink was actually propped up, you know, and the PAC actually suffered. But the one thing that South Africans do not appreciate is the fact that Azapo is created, you know, after the black consciousness movement of the 1970s. Now, this is at the time when white supremacy South Africa was going to deal with anything that is black radical. It was not only that. Of course, the state dealt with the black radicalism in Azapo, but in the 1980s, it is not only the apartheid state that dealt with Azapo and other black radical formations. It was also the Charterists. So this was a twin-pronged attack on Azapo. It was the UDF attacking Azapo. It was the state attacking Azapo. There is no way it could have survived that.
Now, just to add, before JK continue, you see the Pan-Africanist, I don't know, with Azapo, they still have students in the universities. But one thing that has also killed it, like Steve had said, the IEC. They may get 1 seat or 2 seats, but the IEC is an important factor. I mean, you remember Polokwane, when the ANC were fighting between Mbeki and Zuma. The Youth League and those who opposed Zuma, they didn't want the IEC to count. Hence, from now on, or from there on, they started to do manual counting. So the PAC has been saying the zip-zap machine is dealing them heavily because their votes are being, cast aside. And besides, I mean, how many few PAC members maybe in one region? I mean, if there are 15,000 voting stations, you might find that they are not represented in all those voting stations. So that's the problem that they have. Maybe the IEC is also dealing them a heavy blow. You cannot tell me that DA can do better than Azapo and PAC, even though they are at 8. Musima Emmanuel Bossa can do that. The Patriotic Alliance, all Bosondezo Zibi can do better than the PAC and Azapo 20 together.
Thank you, Jigarto Leon. We to me.
I'm not laughing. The reason why people are no longer listening to Azapo or the PAC, it's because of parliamentary politics. People started forgetting the status quo. Why were they in the struggle in the first place? The PAC was advocating for the land issue, and the land issue was the burning issue. And the Black consciousness was...
I've been sorry, it's not me. Let me take the phone. My phone is off, but it's like they're conspiring against me.
Yes, the ASCII is Jake.
And that's not bad. People
ASCII is Jake. I'm on the side, man.
hey, people are missing out on posting palms.
ASCII is Jake.
But do you know that song? This is a man's world.
We need to sit and ask ourselves questions, very serious questions. Why is it that people are no longer listening to the PAC and the Black consciousness movement at this time, when the Black solidarity is of pivotal importance? When we sit as individuals, you realize that as soon as people started thinking about parliamentary politics, if I get 2 seats, if I get 3 seats, and Azapo did not contest the elections in 1994, purely based on the fact that there was no voter registration roll. But then when they decided to join, it was all about a particular person getting a particular seat. We know that people didn't vote. It was not a number, the demographics that made Yusibudi Mangena to be a minister. He was called in and said, here's a position. And what happened, as soon as that happened, he had forgotten about the people. It was all about him now. He had shares at MTN. He had to give his shares to somebody else and now become a minister. And, the richness now started going into their heads. And then people were like, we didn't sign for this. Now look at these people, what they're doing. And now...
Just like the
Yes. And now the people now were like, these people don't give a damn about us. So what did the student do? They turned Black consciousness and Pan-Africanism into a lifestyle. I have to be brave. I have to wear like this. I have the necklace, the Usalo and whatever, so that then we look more African than. But the ideology is that of the liberals.
Thank you very much. Machine politically correct. I know and I can see them through their faces. They want to say more, but allow me to close it. Allow me to close it. It's been a very long one. Thank you very much.